When a CEO isolates his own chief financial officer because he can't handle looking at the company's bank statements, you aren't running a tech empire, you're running a glorified Ponzi scheme. Sam Altman has built a delusion bubble so dense that basic arithmetic bounces straight off of it. Why should you care? Well, because this guy is desperately trying to offload hundreds of billions of dollars in radioactive server debt onto regular retail investors. I've been warning you guys for months about this guy. This Altman figure operates like a cornered sociopath, and the panic over their impossible IPO proves I was right. Let's break down how the self-appointed king of AI engineered his own spectacular financial suffocation. Here's the unvarnished reality of what's happening behind closed doors. OpenAI was supposed to be gearing up for a massive IPO, but their chief financial officer, Sarah Friar, looked at the numbers, specifically the slowing revenue, the missed user targets, and an apocalyptic $700 billion in data center spending commitments. And she decided to slam on the emergency brake like any functioning human being would. She warned that going public right now is financial suicide because they lack basic internal controls required by the SEC. So how did the supposed genius, Sam Altman, respond to this dose of reality? He completely restructured the executive chain of command so Friar no longer reports directly to him. Instead, he shoved her behind an intermediary executive who is currently on indefinite medical leave, effectively gagging the one person trying to stop the train crash. Now Altman is flying solo, taking supervised meetings with venture capitalists, and desperately trying to bypass institutional scrutiny by dumping stock onto unsophisticated retail traders through Robinhood. The money is drying up, the debt is exploding, and the man behind the wheel squeezed his own eyelids completely shut. Alright, let's start with the most likely title of this video I'm going with. Sam Altman is an idiot. The man is trying to monopolize the smartest software on earth while possessing the financial literacy of a toddler at a casino. It's a breathtaking paradox. And if I'm honest, I think he should have just stepped down when he was fired. He should have just given up on OpenAI. I believe without him, OpenAI would be in a much better place. He has fundamentally killed OpenAI, to the point where he has had to physically remove CFO Sarah Friar from his direct reporting line. He literally constructed an organizational moat to keep the math away from himself. He's literally designed the organization like someone who puts a smoke detector in the freezer because they don't want to hear that the house is burning down, while they smoke quietly inside and enjoy themselves. And it gets worse. He made Friar report to a middleman, Fiji Simo, who was out on indefinite medical leave. He used a sick employee as a human soundproof wall to block out financial reality. This is textbook sociopathic management. Plain and simple. I've been literally saying this for months. Sam Altman is a sociopath, and now he's at a point where his company is so structurally unsound that he can't get past this brick wall. And when a sociopath is cornered, they start panicking, and they start doing actions like what we're seeing with the CFO. Sam Altman is so much in La La Land that he's now taking investor meetings without his CFO present. He is locking up the chaperone in the trunk so he can sell investors on a utopian future without that pesky accountant coughing every single time he makes up a completely fictitious financial revenue projection. When asked about business prospects, leadership didn't give him an EBITDA or ARR, they gave him something like a spinning Rubik's Cube. Yeah, good job. That definitely sounds like something you can deposit into your Chase checking account. And yeah, I think the teller's gonna be like, yeah, we accept that. Yeah, great. I'm really happy that we're comparing the financial struggles of a company to a Rubik's Cube now. That's where OpenAI is right now. They are so financially fucked that they are now a Rubik's Cube in their financials. That's amazing. I guess that perfectly does summarize their financial standings. And to spill more fuel on the fire, the brutal reality is that they totally missed their target of 1 billion weekly active users. You know why? Because people are realizing this magical digital brain is mostly just a really expensive parlor trick for writing mediocre high school essay. And that it's not going to be able to cure cancer, it's not going to be able to solve all these diseases, it's not going to be able to fix climate change. It's really only useful for writing garbage crap and for scamming people. I do have to be honest for a minute, there are some use cases for AI that are legitimate, like what Palantir is doing. Better or for worse, they're using it as a way to look through massive amounts of data, and instead of having teams of data analysts looking at something, they have one AI look at it, and it's way faster. There are definitely legitimate use cases of AI, but they're few to none that are actually applicable to the everyday person, or even in most cases, entire companies. And on top of that, their PR department is claiming that they hit internal goals that investors don't even know about. Well, that makes sense. They're totally winning the race, but the finish line is invisible and they only have the map. Oh, wow. Give me a fucking break here. And the sad thing is that their growth is bottlenecked by the demands of free users. They're burning the computational power equivalent to a small European nation. Hey, this is economic suicide. Woo! Now let's talk about the anvil hanging over his head. OpenAI has roughly $700 billion in data center commitment. $700 billion. That isn't a business expense, that is the GDP of Switzerland, strapped to the back of a glorified chat bot. And starting in 2027, they'll owe Oracle $60 billion a year. You understand how insane that is? They're signing IOUs in blood while praying a magical AGI fairy flies down to fix their balance sheet before the repo man shows up and destroys them. And what I find fascinating is at least most people haven't woken up to this reality. But there are some who have, and those people are really starting to get cold feet. And those people are now pivoting to Robinhood. They want to dump this radioactive asset onto unsophisticated retail investors. It's like trying to pass off a ticking time bomb as a novelty alarm clock to gullible teenagers. It's actually just really sad to see this, because the reality is these people who are stuck in that position know that there are people still stupid enough, to think that investing in OpenAI is a great idea. And they know someone will invest so they can get themselves out of a bind. And that's all while Altman bragged about a $122 billion funding round. But Amazon is withholding $35 billion until they hit their IPO. They're literally being blackmailed by Jeff Bezos into going public. An amazing partnership, right? Absolutely not. It's a corporate stranglehold. Amazon wants their money, and they want it soon. They don't want to be holding a literal ticking time bomb, as I said earlier. They want to get in, and they want to get out. And in order for them to get that Amazon money, they had to commit another $100 billion to AWS. They borrowed money just to owe the guy they borrowed money from even more money. At this point, you probably get better financial loan terms borrowing from a loan shark in a dark alley. Good job, Altman. And now look at SoftBank's $30 billion pledge. SoftBank doesn't even have the cash. They have to take it out in loans to fund the investment. At this point, the entire tech sector is just a massive human centipede of borrowed money eating its own shit. This is why Altman is slamming the accelerator on the 2026 IPO. He doesn't want to build a sustainable company, he wants to build a financial ejection seat. He needs to pull the ripcord before the SEC looks under the hood and sees that it's blatant fraud, most likely. And remember that weird private equity joint venture they tried to set up? The CFO practically swallowed her own tongue on CNBC to avoid talking about it. That deal is dead in the water, and the whales are swimming away from the sinking ship. Fryer warned that they lack internal controls to be a public company. Translation, their accounting department is probably just 3 interns using abacuses and a magic 8-ball because they're jacking their shit all day. And when the SEC looks into them when they become an IPO, they're just gonna chew them up and spit out the bones because everything is fucked. Meanwhile, investment bankers are whispering in his ear to go public now to define the industry. Surprise! Surprise! The guy who gets a massive commission wants to shove the pig onto the market before the lipstick completely sweats off. That makes sense. And to be honest, we have seen this exact playbook before with WeWork, a charismatic, delusional founder burning billions in venture capital while speaking in spiritual platitudes. And when the SEC finally drops in, this massive valuation is going to evaporate faster than spit on a griddle. To put it simply, Sam Altman isn't a visionary. He's a hostage taker who swallowed the key. He clung to power he didn't deserve, alienated the adults in the room, and now is steering the Titanic straight into a very expensive, very public iceberg of pure embarrassment.